Monitor your children. Police call for parents to be more vigilant as human traffickers target the innocent. Good evening and welcome to Primetime News on air and online at onespotmedia.com. I'm Archibald Gordon.
And I'm Doreen Samuels. Also this evening, stepping aside, Nestle boss resigns.
Still more questions. Businesses and the church for the UDC to say how they'll be affected in the Heroes Park redevelopment.
Pollution solution. Capri calls for deposit scheme for plastic bottles.
And in business news, another record. NCB reports 9 months profit, which outstrips its 2017 record.
There's also sports commentary and weather in this newscast, but before the break, the feedback question.
This evening, we're asking, what steps have you taken to protect your children from online predators?
Share comments online, facebook.com/television Jamaica, and tweet at Television Jam.
Please stay with us. Primetime News returns right after this break. Welcome back to Primetime News.
Special welcome to folks on onespotmedia.com.
Up first this evening, the stunning revelation of children in Jamaica being targeted by the operators on the dark web who lure the innocent into the world of human trafficking.
It's believed that some of the victims are as young as 12 years old.
The police say they have seen a trend and are asking parents to be more vigilant in protecting their children.
TVJ's Kalisha Williams is in Trelawney covering the Human Trafficking Conference and now reports.
It is called the Internet's dark underbelly, a place where criminals show off dirty deeds, recruiting victims, and children are their main targets. It's believed children are recruited because they are young enough to spend years in the trafficking ring. And in some instances, persons are filmed while they are being raped or even killed. But just how easy is it to access the dark web? I'm going to do a random Google search, typing in dark web just to see what pops up. Clicking on the first link that comes up on the screen. It's now giving me a bunch of instructions. Some of it not quite clear. Seems like this could take a while. But according to DSP Carl Berry, some children right here in Jamaica are accessing this site, and they're doing so within minutes.
The kids have the skills, and they are willing to make mistakes. They are willing to do trial and errors, and whilst navigating the dark web, we do meet upon them.
Dr. Berry points to a conference he was speaking at in St. Anne recently, where the children told him they have been using the dark web for a long time. And are they in fact communicating with some of these predators based on your investigation?
They are, and many of them don't know because the absolute anonymity that the dark web provides, because whereas the internet provides some anonymity, the dark web gives exclusive anonymity in that regard.
Which is why it's calling for parents to take immediate action and monitor all their children's online activity.
They keep this a secret from us most times, so it's through education and proper parenting. And this is where the school community gets a role. This is where all he who knows gets to tell.
The police have recorded more than 80 victims of human trafficking in Jamaica between 2010 and 2018. Kalisha Williams, TVJ News.
Questions this evening as to why the chairman of the Spectrum Management Authority, SMA, wanted the state entity to circumvent the hiring process and immediately shortlist a candidate for a job. The issue was debated in a string of emails between SMA chairman Trevor Forrest and former managing director Dr. David McBean, who rejected the request from the chairman. So, who was the candidate and what did the emails say? TVJ's Andrea Chisholm explains.
In 2016, Chairman of the Spectrum Management Authority SMA, Trevor Forrest, gave a directive to former Managing Director of the entity, Dr. David McBean. Mr. Forrest wanted Caroline Warren, the former Managing Director at Nestle, to be considered for the post of Administration Manager at the SMA. He said, "Please see that this resume is added to your short-listed candidates for interview and consideration." But the SMA was apparently way down the wicket in the hiring process. The post was advertised. The application deadline had already passed. 10 of 58 applications were being considered, 5 applicants were shortlisted, and interviews were to be scheduled. Dr. McBean noted in his email that the application was not made by the normal route, and any addition of a candidate at that stage would be highly irregular and would trigger an human resources audit. But the SMA chairman was insistent. Mr. Forrest said the concerns were noted, but still asked for the candidate to be added to the shortlist. Mr. Forrest also asked Dr. McBean to provide documentation which prevents the request from being carried out. The Spectrum Management Authority's recruitment, selection and staffing policy was sent to the board chairman. Dr. McBean also stated in his correspondence that the corporate governance framework speaks to the roles and responsibilities of the SMA's board as well as the day-to-day operations of the executive. Also pointing out that referring a candidate was not the issue, but the referral came 10 days after the process was closed. So any inclusion of a candidate would question if the selection process was fair and transparent. SMA's chairman Trevor Forrest essentially told Dr. McBean to stop recruiting people so that the board can review the corporate governance framework, as he could not find any language which expressly prevented his request. Andrea Chisholm, TVJ News.
And in response, Mr. Forrest stated on social media platform Twitter that a full process was followed all the way to the Public Services Commission, after which the board which he chairs took a decision to ensure that the human resources policy was revised to maintain transparency and accountability.
In the meantime, Managing Director of the state-run National Energy Solutions Limited, Nessol Carolyn Warren, has resigned. Mrs. Warren's resignation took effect yesterday. Mrs. Warren has been in the media spotlight after opposition spokesman on energy, Philip Polwell, demanded that she be fired. It was revealed that she was convicted over 2 decades ago on a drug charge. Mr. Polwell later expressed regret in his approach to the matter and withdrew the call for Mrs. Warren to be fired. Mrs. Warren apologized for not declaring her conviction. She said she made a mistake earlier in her life and had moved on.
More issues raised in the R.J. Arglina Town Hall meeting on Tuesday. One business operator believes General Manager at the Urban Development Corporation's responses on whether the plan would take away the green space is conflicting. TVJ's Anthony Lugg has our story.
The Urban Development Corporation's vision for the National Heroes Park. It includes a new parliament building, government ministries and other structures. Residents in neighboring communities have questioned, among other things, why the location was chosen. And at the R.J. Arglina Group's town hall meeting, General Manager at UDC Dr. Damian Graham responded to whether the plan would take away the green space.
There is no difference between where the parliament is going and the fact that the rest of the space will remain green.
I have no idea what that means.
We are going to be out of the 26 football fields that is there. One will be used for the parliament, and all of the surrounding space is to remain green. That is the design brief. So you have 25 more football fields of public space, public park and green space.
Raquel Walker was a member of the audience at the town hall meeting but did not get to ask a question.
Now my point is, if whenever Parliament opened down Duke Street, you can't even stay. I don't even know how much miles away you have to stay, because if the Parliament is right there, you have to stay like way up the road. You can neither see who coming in or coming out. So how is it that you are going to build a football field and place where people are going to have activity over there, and you can't go near Parliament when it opens? So how is it that you're going to be able to go on the field and play when the Parliament is built there?
She operates a business at Hero Circle and says though Dr. Graham sought to address some questions, things are still unclear.
To be honest with you, everybody off edge right now. Everybody, both the people them that live over by Almantown side and the ones that located over this side, which is us, the vendors out here. We are uncertain, we are on edge, because we don't know what are the plans for us later on down.
Despite those and other concerns, at least one church in the community of Almantown believed they could benefit significantly from the development of the National Heroes Park. Marvin Lemond is the pastor for the Assemblies of the Firstborn Church.
The land space where we are at right now, we have utilized that to the best of our ability, but the area, we do not have a recreational area. A community center is lacking, and the church wants to play a part in that integral move with the community. So if we have land space, more land space, we could utilize that.
37 teams have registered to participate in the design concept of the project. So as the country awaits word on the UDC's next move,
I'm looking forward what was said in the meeting to come forth.
Anthony Lugg, TVJ News.
A top story this evening, the police call on parents to be more vigilant in monitoring their children's online activities as predators target the innocent on the dark web. And still ahead, concerns raised over increase in hospital user fees. And in business news, NCB reports record profit. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Primetime News. The Hanover police say they have taken 2 persons into custody in relation to the killing of 91-year-old Laurel Frey and her teenage grandson Jesse Spence. The 2 were killed on Wednesday night at their home in Malcolm Heights, Hanover. Police Sergeant Sean J. Mitchell of the Lucy Police Station says the 2 suspects were picked up earlier today during a police operation.
However, we still have 3 persons that we'd like to question in relation to the incident. They are Howard McIntosh, OC Zill, and Ricardo Bird, OC Whiteman. So these persons are asked to turn in themselves to the Lucy Police by 6 p.m. this evening.
It's suspected that the incident is linked to the killing of a gang member in the area recently.
There is a call this evening for the government to provide more information on the increase for the user fee charges at public health facilities. The call comes from Jamaica Medical Doctors Association and the Nurses Association of Jamaica. TVJ Shamela Mitchell-Pullen reports.
The announcement came by way of a press release on Tuesday that fees to access health care would double as of August 1. Leading up to the release, there were no hints from the Health Minister, Dr. Christopher Tufton. And members of the health sector have been left shocked. President of the Nurses Association of Jamaica, Carmen Johnson, says while the increase is necessary, she's not happy with the manner in which it was announced.
If you are going to tell me that there will be an increase, you need to give me notice. You needed to have at least educate me and inform me. But as I think the public health sector really, the free health care is really for those who really can't afford. And so the government and the managers are saying if you can afford, you must pay. But it's how do we communicate that to those who we want to collect from?
The Jamaica Medical Doctors Association and the NAJ say given the development, it appears the government is trying to find a way to bring in additional revenue for a health sector that has been ailing. A sign Dr. Thompson says the JMDA saw some 10 years ago when the no-user fee policy was established.
Here you have now a system that is not generating any income from what was there before. And you're going to have to find a way to either generate income or facilitate proper healthcare delivery, because definitely more persons are going to be using the system.
Dr. Thompson also adds that the government needs to do an assessment to see if the increase is necessary.
I think the government probably needs to make an assessment of what they currently have operational in the system, and then they need to know if they will be able to facilitate through their current revenue streams, facilitate the current state of the health system. But I think that there has to be some assessment.
Effective next Wednesday, persons will be required to pay $3,000 for general medical visits, up from $1,500. Visits to specialist clinics will move from $3,500 to $7,500, while the charge for being admitted to the intensive care unit will be increased from $5,000 to $10,600 per day. Shamela Mitchell-Pullen, TVJ News.
This evening, a call for urgent attention to be placed on improving health care in rural areas. The latest call from a group of medical practitioners in the diaspora who have been hosting a free health fair in rural St. Catherine for the past 8 years. TVJ's Krista Campbell has details.
This Trojan clinic he's forgotten, and it needs to be remembered.
And at least one group is doing just that. An 8-year medical mission of past students from the Haywood Primary School in St. Catherine revisiting the rural community of Troja for the first time because of the medical needs there. No doctor at the health center in the community. Residents say they walk miles or struggle with transportation to get proper medical care miles away, sometimes even in other parishes.
Most of the people are not working, they're farmers and so on. They don't have a big steady income and you know, they can't afford to go all the way to Kingston or to Spanish Town or even to Linz to the doctors. So we're asking people in the rural community to try to give back to the communities that they're from.
Some of them have 3 or 4 children going back to school and being able to come here with their children and getting the medical done. It's really good for them.
Dr. Esther Hare says for the past 7 years, the medical team has been hosting the health fair in Riversdale, where there's a bigger health center and a medical doctor who visits once or twice per week. She laments that's not enough.
Sometimes patients, even though they get their prescription, still is without medication. And that's the major problem, is getting medication and also getting specialists. I've seen a lot of people with a heart problem who have not had any cardiologist to care for them.
She says she's given hospital referrals for patients to get an echocardiogram. Others are given machines to help them monitor their medical conditions, and then there's free medication for up to a month for persons who do not have money to fill their prescriptions. But the doctor says that's just putting Band-Aid on a sore. She wants the bigger problem of the lack of adequate health care in rural areas to be addressed.
I gave a person medication for a month. What's going to happen next month? Next month that person might not have any money to buy that medication. And we're back where we start. There's a threat for stroke, heart attack, all of that is still there.
Krista Campbell, TVJ News.
Another statutory body is acknowledging that delinquent employers are refusing to pay over deductions from their employees' salaries. This follows a TVJ News story yesterday that persons have been denied National Housing Trust NHT refunds for the same reason. TVJ's Herman Green has this primetime news follow-up.
On Wednesday, we highlighted that employers sometimes don't pay over NHT contributions deducted from employees. But President of the Union of Clerical, Administrative and Supervisory Employees, UCASE, Vincent Morrison, says NHT contributions are not the only statutory deductions that's not being paid over.
Yes. In fact, Housing Trust and NIS, National Insurance Scheme, are perhaps the 2 more prominent institutions. The end and very sad result of that is that the employees are severely affected. For example, NIS pensions. We
are in fact taking more and more employers to court. We do have the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, of which the National Insurance Scheme is a part. We do have a cadre of inspectors across the island, and their responsibility basically, one core function, is to monitor the performance of the employers. And we do have an overarching compliance unit that supports those units and treats with the bigger cases.
However, court cases can take years, some not ending before employees retire and have no access to NIS benefits.
I think government intervention is very much needed. I would want to say also that government from time to time has lost a lot of money because income tax have been deducted and it's not paid over.
We contacted Minister without Portfolio in the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service, Favored Williams, for details on the tax compliance measures implemented and how successful they have been so far. Up to news time, we were still awaiting a promised return call with the information. Herman Green, TVJ News.
Time now for the responses from our friends on Facebook and Twitter. Archie is at the smartboard.
Thanks, Doreen. Here is our question this evening. This evening we're asking, what steps have you taken to protect your children from online predators? Here's the first comment. Parenting is a huge responsibility, a privilege, and a huge blessing. I think if you do not yet know yourself as a person, You will see parenting as a burden and not the greatest privilege. Parents, stop using cop-outs with cell phones, tablets, and other smart devices to our children too young. It's making them lazy, dumb, slow thinkers and too exposed to too much too early. Read with them, play with them, and take them for walks. The internet cannot be responsible for children. No, no, no. Here's the second comment. This person says, my 16-year-old daughter is not on any social media sites, not even WhatsApp. Third comment. One thing I know, I would not give my child access to social media, nor will I post my kids on social media. I keep my life private. I post what I feel is necessary, but not my kids. And this person says, the only line my child allowed to go on is the clothes line. I have to be telling her all the time, child, on a windy day without the clothes, pin the clothes, now go stay on the line. And here's final comment. Downloading apps from the Play Store to block all sexual and violent content. Monitoring their every sign-in online, for example. Linking their WhatsApp to my tablet and making sure I have their Facebook and Messenger password. When they're 18, they can change it. But for now, I'm running their lives. Keep your comments coming on Facebook and Twitter. Facebook.com/TelevisionJamaica and the tweets to @TelevisionJam. Business news and news from overseas after the break.